Have you ever wondered why some people can maintain laser-sharp focus while others seem trapped in cycles of distraction? Within every mind lies the dormant potential to master attention, yet so few of us truly unlock it. This book will invite you on a transformative journey of self-reflection, where the art of focus becomes both your guide and your reward. Step beyond ordinary routines and awaken a new kind of mastery that will illuminate every area of your life. Are you ready to see what you're truly capable of when your attention is under your control? Focus Mastery, Strengthening the Art of Attention, written and published by Awaken Vision. Chapter 1. Have you ever felt like your days slip through your fingers, one after another, lost to distractions and endless noise? Perhaps you sit down with the best intentions, determined to focus on something important, but before you know it, your attention is wandering to notifications, random thoughts, or shiny new tasks demanding your energy. It's an invisible tug of war, and you may even wonder if this is just how the mind works, or if it's possible to reclaim control. The reality is, you're not alone. The constant assault of alerts, messages, and the pressure to multitask is something almost everyone faces in today's world. The problem isn't just the quantity of distractions, but the subtle feeling that each day, your energy is slipping away from what matters most. Loss of focus doesn't just steal productivity, it dulls your inner fire and makes goals feel distant or worse, impossible. Imagine waking up feeling purposeful and energized, knowing that what you set out to do will actually be done. Compare that to those all too familiar days where time evaporates, leaving you frustrated and doubting your own abilities. Many people who struggle with focus quietly wrestle with feelings of inadequacy and guilt. Maybe you tell yourself that everyone else has greater willpower, or maybe you wonder why your biggest dreams feel perpetually just out of reach. That creeping sense of defeat is not just discouraging, it gradually teaches your mind that focus is an elusive skill reserved for others, not you. I once heard the story of a talented artist named Mia. Driven and creative, Mia constantly felt held back by a flood of distractions that haunted her every attempt to create. She would begin her work with a spark of inspiration, but not long after, she'd give in to checking her phone or getting lost in social media scrolls. This cycle of starting and stopping left her artwork unfinished and her confidence shattered. Her story isn't unique. In fact, it's the reality for students struggling with their studies, employees buried under a mountain of emails, and even parents trying to be present with their children yet feeling mentally stretched in 100 directions. In these everyday battles, it's not just achievement that's at stake. It's the sense of fulfillment and peace that comes from real presence. What's at stake isn't simply missed deadlines or incomplete projects. Every moment you let attention slip away, you diminish the sense of agency over your life. Yet, this is not written in stone. Once you begin to recognize this pattern and understand its source, you are already taking the essential first step towards mastery. Burning inside each person is a unique spark, a possibility to direct their focus not just on tasks, but on growth, passions, and self-discovery. The challenge is to acknowledge the problem honestly and refuse to accept a life half-lived by distraction. The journey toward true focus is about more than just doing. It's about becoming. Let's start igniting that flame so you can unleash your best self. The answer to reclaiming your focus and igniting the flame within begins with self-reflection, a method both powerful and practical. Self-reflection involves pausing regularly to observe your thoughts, behaviors, and surroundings without harsh judgment. This practice lets you identify not only what distracts you, but also what genuinely captures your attention and fuels your passion. At its core, self-reflection encourages you to step outside the whirlwind of daily busyness and take stock of where your focus naturally drifts, and more importantly, why. By noticing these patterns, you create distance between stimulus and response, offering yourself a greater chance to make conscious choices rather than reactive ones. Research in psychology points to the value of deliberate attention and reflective habits. Studies show that people who practice self-reflection are more likely to achieve their goals and regulate their emotions, helping them return to the present moment when distraction strikes. By spending just a few intentional minutes each day asking yourself questions like, what am I focusing on right now? Or is this activity moving me toward or away from my goals? You can gradually train your mind to become more aware and selective about where to invest your precious attention. Over time, this builds greater mental resilience, making it easier to resist distractions and maintain momentum on what truly matters. One powerful reason self-reflection works is because it is rooted in curiosity and self-compassion, rather than criticism. When you notice yourself drifting away from a task, instead of labeling it as laziness or a lack of willpower, treat it as useful information. Perhaps your mind wanders because the task lacks personal meaning, or your energy is low, or your environment is too noisy. Rather than ignoring or denying these observations, acknowledge them as signals pointing you toward valuable adjustments. This shift transforms distraction into an opportunity to learn about yourself and your needs, fueling your growth rather than draining your spirit. Building this skill takes intention and patience. Start with small daily rituals of checking in with your mind before beginning a new activity. It might be as simple as taking a slow, deep breath and honestly asking, what am I about to do? Why is it important? Over time, these moments of self-inquiry accumulate, training your brain to recognize distractions as they arise, but gently guiding your attention back to your chosen path. This is the foundation of focus mastery, learning to trust and direct your awareness at will, instead of being at the mercy of a restless environment. The benefits of igniting the flame of focus are profound. As you become more intentional with your attention, you'll notice clearer thinking, increased productivity, and a deeper sense of connection to your work, your relationships, and your own potential. This self-reflective approach does not require extraordinary discipline, nor is it a talent reserved for a select few. It is a skill you can nurture and strengthen starting today. By committing to this process, you open the door to living a more present, purposeful life, where each day is shaped by mindful choices rather than mindless habits. This is what it truly means to ignite the flame within and begin your journey toward focus mastery. When you commit to self-reflection as a daily practice, incredible changes begin to take shape in your life. As you train yourself to pause and examine where your focus goes, your mind becomes more honest and compassionate, a safe place for growth instead of self-criticism. You start to feel less like a victim of your circumstances and more like the leader of your journey. Suddenly, work no longer feels like a race against chaos. Relationships blossom with presence and authenticity. Even your hobbies and self-care activities begin to carry deeper satisfaction. It becomes easier to notice small successes, savor moments of progress, and feel genuinely proud of your efforts, regardless of the outcome. In time, you find yourself reacting less to trivial distractions and more engaged with the people, projects, and passions that matter most to you. To bring this practice into your daily life, start small and gentle. Begin and end each day by setting aside just 3 to 5 minutes for honest self-reflection. In the morning, take a quiet moment over your first cup of tea or coffee, or even before you get out of bed. Ask yourself, where do I want to direct my energy today? Get specific and practical, thinking about one task, one conversation, or one area you want to be more present in. As the day goes by, pause occasionally to check in with your intentions, especially when you notice your attention drifting. At night, celebrate one thing you did well, no matter how minor, and ask, when did I feel most focused? What helped me get there? These brief rituals, repeated regularly, prime your mind to notice patterns, embrace progress, and adjust thoughtfully, rather than fall into cycles of frustration or defeat. Let's imagine how this works in real life. Consider a student who feels overwhelmed by studying in a noisy home. First, she uses self-reflection in the morning to acknowledge her environment, so she plans a study time when the space will be quieter or finds headphones with calming music. Throughout the day, she gently notices when she gets distracted and refocuses on the task without scolding herself, building resilience each time. Or take an employee buried under deadlines who uses quick moments of self-reflection before meetings to clarify priorities, steering attention toward actionable steps instead of scattered worries. In relationships, a parent might notice they're distracted during family meals and decide to place devices away, making conversation and eye contact their main focus. Even in personal growth, someone striving to meditate or read more might check in each day, adjusting their environment or timing to support deeper attention, turning reflection into genuine momentum. Remember, mastering focus is not about striving for unreachable perfection or banishing all distraction from life. Instead, it's about returning again and again to what you value with curiosity, patience, and encouragement. Each small effort you invest in being present builds your confidence and capability for larger challenges ahead. Setbacks along the way are not evidence of failure, but opportunities for learning about what supports you best. The more you practice, the brighter your inner flame becomes, guiding you toward your goals with warmth and clarity. As you finish this first chapter, congratulate yourself for taking this essential step toward living on purpose. In the journey ahead, we'll build on what you've begun here. The next chapter explores how you can rewire your thoughts for positivity, uncovering the surprising ways your mind shapes your focus and possibilities. Let yourself feel proud of what you've started, and stay curious for the next breakthrough. If you're enjoying this journey, remember to subscribe to Awaken Vision. Give this content a like and share your thoughts or personal experiences so we can continue growing together. Your best is yet to come. Chapter 2. Have you ever noticed how a single negative thought can seep into your mind and color your whole day? It's as if you wake up to sunshine but stumble on a small problem, and suddenly a dark cloud follows you everywhere, making every little annoyance feel bigger. At these times, it's easy to believe that your mood and reactions are controlled entirely by the world around you, that you're just at the mercy of whatever thoughts randomly appear in your head. Yet, the truth is that most of us never stop to question the stories we're telling ourselves. Our brains are constantly weaving narratives, many of which are automatic and shaped by years of old habits or past criticism. Sometimes, these narratives become so familiar that we accept them as facts without realizing their power to steer our feelings and actions. Consider the moment right before an important meeting or test when your brain whispers, "You're probably going to mess this up." That single thought, left unchecked, can trigger nervousness, a racing heart, and even sabotaged performance. Or think about a day when one careless comment from someone you trust instantly triggers a spiral of self-doubt, making you forget all your past successes. Negative thinking isn't just an inner nuisance. It has real consequences on motivation, relationships, and even your health. Over time, repeated negative thoughts can make you believe you're less capable, less worthy, or destined to fail, closing off opportunities before you even try. If left unexamined, these patterns drain your focus and dim any inner spark for growth or connection. This is why understanding your inner dialogue is so important if you want to become the master of your focus. Your thoughts are not just fleeting words in your head. They set your emotional climate and shape the energy you bring into every room, every project, and every relationship. Just as water flows in the path carved by a river, your focus follows the direction set by your thoughts. If most of your thinking is negative, it's like setting out to climb a mountain burdened with heavy stones in your backpack. Negative beliefs unconsciously reinforce themselves, making positive change feel like a constant uphill battle. It's not a matter of not working hard enough or lacking talent. Often it's these invisible patterns of negative thinking that keep you from making progress. But here's the empowering truth. Thoughts are habits too, and habits can be changed. You may not choose which thoughts pop up, but you can choose which ones you keep, nurture, and steer toward growth. When you learn to spot and gently shift negative thinking, it's like clearing fog from your internal lens, suddenly allowing more light, hope, and new possibilities to enter. In this chapter, you'll discover how rewiring your thoughts for positivity can radically transform your ability to focus, boost your self-belief, and open doors to progress and better relationships. You deserve to feel uplifted by your own mind, not held back by it. Let's explore how to make that shift, one new thought at a time. The solution to breaking free from negative thinking and harnessing focus begins with learning to notice and reshape your mental habits. At the heart of this shift is a simple practice. Pause whenever you notice a negative thought and challenge it with a gentle question. For example, when you catch yourself thinking, "I always mess up," pause and ask, "Is that really true? What evidence do I have that challenges this thought?" This process is called cognitive reframing. By consciously questioning these automatic ideas, you interrupt the old narrative and give yourself space to consider a more balanced, constructive view. Over time, the brain learns to create new connections where positive and realistic thoughts have more weight than old, negative patterns. The effectiveness of reshaping your inner chatter is not just common sense, it's supported by considerable psychological research. Studies in cognitive behavioral therapy, a leading field in mental health, show that actively challenging and altering negative thought patterns leads to better concentration, reduced anxiety, and even improved physical health. When you reflect on your internal self-talk and intentionally switch harsher phrases for kinder, more encouraging ones, your brain undergoes a real observable shift. Neural pathways, essentially the routes thoughts travel in your mind, can be changed through repetition. By practicing new ways of thinking, these pathways strengthen and old negative paths become weaker from lack of use. Over weeks and months, you become not just the actor, but the director of your own thinking. One crucial reason this approach works so well is that it gives you back your sense of agency. Instead of believing that negative thoughts are unavoidable facts about your identity, you realize they are habits you can examine and change. This frees you to move forward, even on challenging days. You stop wasting energy fighting unwelcome thoughts, and instead, begin focusing on solutions and opportunities. Self-compassion grows alongside positivity as you practice talking to yourself the way you would encourage a close friend or loved one, patiently, supportively, and with understanding. This mental reset, this shift to positivity, does not mean ignoring problems or pretending that everything is perfect. Rather, it's about giving yourself the benefit of realistic hope, reflective optimism, and genuine encouragement. When positive thoughts become your default, you build inner momentum, making it easier to pay attention during difficult tasks, bounce back from setbacks, and approach challenges with curiosity instead of dread. In work settings, this new mindset clears brain fog and builds confidence to speak up or try new ideas. In relationships, it helps you assume the best of others and communicate more openly, which resolves conflict faster. For personal growth, a positive mindset means believing you can improve with effort, providing the energy and drive to persist even when progress is slow. Consistency is the key to unlocking this transformation. Each time you catch and challenge a negative thought, you light another lamp along the path of your mind, making it easier to find your way forward the next time darkness descends. Over time, positivity becomes automatic. Optimism grows stronger not by ignoring difficulty, but by facing it emboldened by a healthier, more hopeful perspective. In doing so, you lay the groundwork for greater focus, resilience, and lasting self-growth. As you begin to reshape your thoughts and turn positivity into a daily habit, the landscape of your whole life starts to change. You might notice your focus feels sharper and your overall mood lighter, even when obstacles appear. The more you practice reframing your internal stories, the more natural optimism, confidence, and a sense of self-compassion become. This mental transformation doesn't just make tough moments easier. It creates a foundation for better relationships, stronger work performance, and a deep resilience that carries you through periods of uncertainty. With a new thought habit, you don't just react to life, you respond deliberately, making the most of what each moment offers. Implementing this change is within everyone's reach and becomes smoother when broken down into simple steps. Start by listening carefully to your thoughts as if you were an objective friend. Throughout your day, pause at moments of stress or discouragement and write down what your mind is telling you. After listing these thoughts, come back and gently question them. Ask yourself, is this the full story? Or what reassuring thing would I say to a friend in this situation? Replace harsh or limiting thoughts with more balanced alternatives, such as trading, "I always get this wrong," for "I've struggled before, but I've also figured things out." Keep a small journal or notes on your phone to record your positive reframes. Over time, you'll notice which negative stories return and just how often you've begun to replace them with hope and possibility. To see how this works in practice, imagine a team leader at work who usually worries after a difficult meeting, convinced she didn't contribute enough. When she starts the habit of positive thought reframing, she stops for a few minutes after each meeting to review what went well or recall one point she made that was helpful. She recognizes where improvement is possible without slipping into self-criticism. In another scenario, a student overwhelmed by upcoming exams finds his brain whispering, "I'll never remember all this." He decides to swap this for, "If I break it down and review a little each day, I can make real progress." Then notices himself feeling calmer and more focused while studying. In personal relationships, someone who believes "I'm a burden when I ask for help" starts gently reminding herself, "People appreciate me as much as I appreciate them," encouraging healthier, more open communication. These changes, when made consistently, help you experience small victories that reinforce your new perspective and build lasting self-trust. It's natural to encounter setbacks as you introduce these habits, but remember, progress is a path, not a finish line. With steady commitment, even tiny improvements will collect and multiply, steadily shifting your mindset toward light, strength, and clarity. Use each challenging moment as another chance to practice self-kindness and to celebrate steps forward. Over time, you'll witness how these new thoughts invite better focus and greater peace, no matter what unfolds. With your new foundation of positive thinking, you are ready to dive deeper into building an attitude of resilience and gratitude, key ingredients that protect and expand the focus and self-worth you have just begun to nurture. Get ready to discover how challenges can reveal hidden strengths and open the way for profound personal change. If you found value in this chapter, consider subscribing to Awaken Vision, liking the content, or sharing your personal journey in the comments to uplift others traveling this road with you. Your story and growth inspire more people than you realize, and every step matters. Chapter 3. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to bounce back from setbacks, like nothing can keep them down, while others linger in frustration or defeat? At some point, everyone faces challenges that threaten to sap their energy, shake their confidence, and derail their focus. Life has a way of testing our resolve when we least expect it. Maybe it's a failed exam that feels like it erases months of hard work, or feedback at work that feels harsher than you deserve. Sometimes it's a string of days that all seem to drag, filled only with problems and little gratitude for what is still going right. When every step forward meets resistance, exhaustion, or disappointment, staying focused and motivated starts to feel impossible. Understanding why resilience and gratitude matter is key to overcoming these obstacles. Resilience, the ability to recover from setbacks and adapt to stress, is vital not because it prevents challenges, but because it changes how you experience and move through them. Gratitude, on the other hand, helps shift your perspective, allowing you to notice and appreciate pockets of light, even in the darkest times. Both are not just nice-to-have qualities, they are essential skills for anyone wanting lasting focus and fulfillment. Without resilience, each hurdle feels like a wall too high to climb, and without gratitude, even your best days lose their power to inspire you forward. Most people can recall a time when it felt easier to give in to disappointment. Imagine a friend who studied hard but didn't get the job she wanted, or a parent who feels unappreciated no matter how much effort is given at home. These situations, though emotionally difficult, are far from rare. When life doesn't reward your efforts as you hoped, negative thoughts return. You might start believing that setbacks are personal failures instead of universal experiences, roads only the lucky or the strong can travel. This is where resilience shows its power, not just as a word or a far-off ideal, but as an active tool for changing the direction of your mind and energy. Gratitude acts as resilience's close companion. Instead of erasing hardship, gratitude asks you to notice what remains strong, possible, or beautiful, even as you struggle. It can feel nearly impossible to see the point of finding good things when you feel stuck in bad luck or disappointment. But this isn't about silencing sadness or pretending everything is perfect. It's about touching base with the simple joys, the friend who calls, a moment of laughter, the taste of your favorite food that remind you of life's richness. Resilience helps you get back up, and gratitude shows that not all is lost in the process. When you blend these qualities, they work together to drive your focus and rebuild your hope, so that obstacles become not dead ends but detours to growth. If you've ever wished you could weather storms with steadier hands or find peace in the midst of life's messiness, this chapter will give you strategies for doing just that. The next step is learning how these qualities can be practiced and strengthened so that tough days no longer define your outlook or your future. Your journey to resilience and gratitude starts now, promising more than recovery, a path to deeper, more lasting focus in all you do. Cultivating resilience and gratitude is an intentional practice, a blend of deliberate perspective shifts, conscious self-support, and daily rituals that let you navigate setbacks without losing sight of progress. The core of resilience lies in how you frame adversity. Instead of seeing hardship as a permanent and personal failure, resilient people tend to approach challenges as temporary and solvable, often asking what can be learned or tried next. This mental framing is not an inborn gift. It can be developed by anyone willing to reflect and adjust their thinking patterns. Repeatedly reminding yourself that setbacks happen to all people and that obstacles are often stepping stones to new understanding builds mental flexibility. Research into resilience and post-traumatic growth suggests that deliberately reflecting on tough experiences and focusing on improvement leads to greater feelings of agency, peace, and motivation. The simple act of asking, "What is one small action I can take next?" after a disappointment is a proven way to shift out of helplessness and regain a sense of purpose. Gratitude works alongside resilience by spotlighting what remains hopeful and supportive, even in challenging times. Mentally scanning your day for things to appreciate, no matter how minor, can help recalibrate your focus toward abundance rather than scarcity. Psychological research has shown that gratitude practices can reduce stress hormones, increase optimism, and even slow signs of burnout. When you acknowledge small moments of kindness, comfort, or accomplishment, you remind yourself that setbacks exist alongside positives. Practicing gratitude doesn't erase pain or invalidate real struggles, but it provides emotional balance and gives proof, a living record, that the good persists even in hardship. Both qualities are strengthened through repetition and intentional attention. Resilience grows when you accept emotional reactions without harsh judgment, distinguishing temporary disappointments from your overall identity. Try speaking to yourself as you would to a valued friend, especially during failure. Offer encouragement, permission to feel, and ideas for the next step. Over time, this positive self-talk becomes internalized, letting you respond with increasing calm and confidence. Similarly, gratitude is seeded through simple habits, such as writing down 3 things you are grateful for each night, or pausing during challenges to notice what resources, inner or outer, are still available to you. Why does this solution work so powerfully? Because focus is deeply connected to your emotional state and the stories you tell yourself about your struggles. When difficulties arise, a mind that quickly rebounds and recognizes sources of strength is far more effective at sustaining motivation and effort. Resilience pulls you through storms without losing direction. Gratitude fills your sails with purpose and hope, even when skies are gray. Working together, they expand your psychological toolkit. So instead of being stuck in cycles of complaint or retreat, you pivot naturally toward healing, learning, or trying again. Building these skills isn't about ignoring the reality of pain or pretending to be happy when you're not. Rather, it means respecting your full experience, holding space for hardship, and harnessing tools that help you redirect energy constructively. This ensures that even on hard days, you are not defined by setbacks, but uplifted by your ability to keep moving, to value what's good, and to persist with compassion. Over time, resilience and gratitude will become habits of mind and heart, building a sturdy foundation for your focus and your entire life's direction. The transformation that occurs when you cultivate resilience and gratitude is powerful and lasting. These qualities help anchor you through turbulent times, making each challenge feel less like a roadblock and more like an opportunity to learn and grow. By intentionally practicing resilience, your setbacks lose their oppressive weight. Instead, they serve as stepping stones for personal development. Gratitude, when woven into your daily thoughts, turns even ordinary days into sources of motivation and hope. The combination of these habits sparks deeper focus, sharper decision-making, and genuine contentment, no matter what external circumstances bring. Over time, you start to notice that problems which once seemed overwhelming are now chances to prove your strength and reveal your ability to adapt. Suddenly, obstacles become invitations for creativity and progress. Implementing resilience and gratitude into your life does not require dramatic changes. It starts with small, daily actions that add up. Begin at the start or end of each day by writing down 3 things you are genuinely grateful for. These moments could be as simple as the comfort of a warm drink, the smile of a colleague, or simply finishing a task you found difficult. The act of noticing and recording these positive details rewires your attention to scan for good, not just for threats or irritations. Whenever setbacks occur, instead of immediately judging or criticizing yourself, pause and ask, how have I handled tough moments before, and what did I learn? Try to identify a lesson or an unexpected resource you discovered in the process. When emotions run high or disappointment stings, respond with the kindness and advice you would offer a dear friend navigating the same trouble. In real-life situations, you might practice resilience and gratitude at work by celebrating small wins with your team after a rough project phase. Giving sincere thanks to a teammate not only strengthens bonds but also builds collective morale, lifting everyone's spirits on challenging days. At school, students may benefit from using a setback journal, where they record challenges and then explore both their responses and what they're grateful for during tough times. In personal relationships, it's about expressing thanks for your partner's efforts, even during disagreements, reminding each other of the foundation you share. In self-development, reflecting on your growth through adversity and routinely recognizing even the tiniest moments of joy makes progress visible, fueling motivation for tomorrow. Remember, building resilience and gratitude is a journey constructed from small steps. Celebrate each instance you consciously pause to reflect, react with self-love, or recognize something positive, even on hard days. This process gives you permission to see growth as a collection of small victories rather than an elusive, far-off goal. Regular reflection helps you track your progress, appreciate your evolving perspective, and affirm that your efforts are making a difference. Challenges will inevitably arise, but now, armed with these habits, you can greet them with hope and resolve, trusting yourself to find lessons and gifts in every situation. As you continue your journey, you will discover how perspective shapes every experience, how the way you view problems, possibilities, and even yourself can either limit or unleash your true focus and freedom. The next chapter will guide you in harnessing the immense power of perspective so that you can rise above limitations and see obstacles in an entirely new light. Before you move forward, take a moment to reflect on your steps so far, and if you've found meaning here, consider subscribing to Awaken Vision, liking this content, or sharing your thoughts in the comments below. Every insight helps this community grow and thrive together. Chapter 4. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a situation where nothing seems to go your way, and the more you try to fix it, the more hopeless it feels? Perhaps you have faced setbacks that linger in your mind, shading everything else in your life with frustration or disappointment. It's all too easy in these moments to narrow your vision and view the world through a lens shaped by stress, failure, or past hurts. When your perspective tightens, even small problems can appear insurmountable, and successes shrink until they're barely noticed. This tunnel vision not only limits your sense of possibility, but also drains your energy and creativity. What many don't realize is that the ability to shift your perspective, to step back and see the bigger picture, is the key to unlocking new solutions and a sense of hope, no matter how difficult the present feels. It's a universal experience to feel trapped by current circumstances. Imagine a new employee who, after making one noticeable mistake on a project, becomes convinced that they are not cut out for the job. Each day, this single mishap begins to overshadow their past achievements and natural talents, causing increased anxiety and reluctance to take on fresh challenges. Or picture a student so fixated on a disappointing grade that any positive feedback from teachers or friends is drowned out by internal doubt. Friends and family might even offer encouragement or alternative views, but those outside perspectives can be hard to truly absorb when you're wearing the heavy glasses of self-criticism or defeat. No matter your age or background, there will always be times when distorted or rigid perspective makes the world look smaller and your options less possible. Understanding how deeply your perspective shapes your experience is crucial for personal growth and mental well-being. Perspective isn't just about having rose-colored glasses or ignoring difficulties. It's about the way you interpret events and your ability to notice opportunities or strengths in them. The story you tell yourself about what happens shapes not only your emotions, but also how you focus, solve problems, and interact with others. When perspective is narrowed by fear, anger, or disappointment, your brain shifts into a defensive mode, often missing alternatives or silver linings. But when you learn how to step back and reframe situations, your awareness widens, allowing you to tap into resilience, gratitude, and creativity. The good news is that perspective can be learned, practiced, and transformed over time. Those moments where crisis seems absolute can become the starting point to ask, what else could be true? Or how would I see this from another person's viewpoint? These simple questions often put brakes on spirals of worry and open your mind to solutions or insights you hadn't considered before. Learning to harness the power of perspective is about expanding your mental horizon, seeing setbacks as temporary, and remembering that one challenge doesn't dictate the narrative of your whole story. If you've ever longed to feel more empowered in tough times, or wondered how some people seem to find hope and opportunity where others see only difficulty, you are ready to unlock this overlooked form of strength. Shifting your perspective begins with the realization that your interpretation of events is not set in stone. You have the ability to choose how you relate to what happens to you, no matter how fixed or intense your initial response. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist or ignoring real emotions. It's about adding new layers to how you see the situation, all in a way that increases your options, hope, and clarity. One of the most effective ways to do this is through a method called reframing. Reframing means deliberately stepping outside of your automatic reactions and searching for alternative explanations, potential lessons, or positive aspects hidden within the experience. This approach does not deny the reality or difficulty of challenges, but it loosens the grip that negative interpretations can have on your focus and motivation. When you encounter a setback, for instance, instead of allowing your thoughts to settle on, "I failed, so I must not be good enough," reframing encourages you to consider, maybe this failure means there's feedback I can use, or new skills I can learn that will help me succeed in the future. Psychological research supports this approach. Studies in positive psychology show that individuals who can reframe adversity and seek constructive meaning in disappointment are more likely to recover, adapt, and maintain motivation over time. This mental flexibility doesn't just make you feel better temporarily, it builds long-term resilience and expands your creative problem-solving abilities. When reframing becomes a habit, you can move from feeling stuck and powerless to feeling engaged and resourceful, no matter the situation. Perspective also broadens when you practice empathy and curiosity, both toward yourself and others. When you face a difficult moment, imagine stepping outside your situation and looking at it from the point of view of a supportive friend, or from your own future self who has already overcome this setback. Ask yourself, what advice would I offer to someone else in my shoes? Often this imagined objectivity tempers self-criticism and opens space for understanding, patience, and hope. Equally powerful is the act of asking questions like, what else could this mean? Or, how might someone else interpret this? This encourages you to expand your mental view, making it much harder for a single negative moment to define you or dictate your next actions. The benefit of harnessing perspective is both immediate and lasting. Immediately, you notice greater calm and clarity in moments of stress, freeing up your attention for solutions rather than problems. With practice, this expanded awareness helps you stay motivated and focused, recognizing options where you only saw obstacles before. With a flexible perspective, every problem contains a spark of possibility. You are less likely to be derailed by fear or frustration, and more able to see setbacks as small parts of a broader and expanding story. Over time, an empowered perspective accelerates growth, deepens self-understanding, and leads to higher satisfaction and success, both in small daily matters and the big moments of life. Building this ability requires practice, intention, and compassion. Yet each moment spent broadening your perspective is an investment in a calmer mind, a more optimistic spirit, and a more purposeful direction for your attention and actions. This is not just theory. It's a practical, deeply transformative approach to living with more hope, focus, and fulfillment. Adopting the habit of shifting your perspective invites a wave of positive change into every aspect of your life. When you regularly practice looking at situations from multiple angles, life's inevitable setbacks become much less intimidating and much more manageable. Instead of dreading challenge or disappointment, you begin to view unexpected changes as invitations to grow in new directions. This attitude radiates outward, transforming your ability to concentrate when needed, find creative solutions, and even maintain deeper, more supportive relationships. The simple yet powerful ability to pause and reconsider a challenge from another perspective disrupts anxiety and self-doubt, infusing your daily routine with hope, mental clarity, and renewed determination. Over time, a widened perspective helps you notice your strengths, see options where you once perceived only obstacles, and remain calm and focused even when life throws you off course. To bring this habit into your daily routine, start with an intentional exercise at the first sign of stress or frustration. When a problem arises, pause and consciously ask yourself what else might be true about the situation. Write down 3 alternative explanations or possible outcomes, even if they initially feel unrealistic or optimistic. This process, repeated each day, weakens the grip of automatic negative thoughts and makes it natural to search for silver linings. At the end of your day, take just 5 minutes to reflect. Ask yourself what moments you might see differently after some distance, or if there's value in your experience that you missed at first glance. Over time, this regular check-in trains your brain to default to possibility rather than defeat. Consider how this shift might play out in common situations. A student frustrated by a poor test score can pause and choose to see the result as information for targeted improvement rather than as a measure of their potential. At work, an employee facing criticism in a performance review can intentionally reframe it as a roadmap for growth, looking for any kernels of truth to learn from while remembering their unique achievements. In relationships, a disagreement becomes a gateway to understanding different points of view and strengthening empathy. Practicing the habit of perspective-taking gives you ownership over your reactions, letting you navigate emotional moments with maturity and resolve. Even in personal development, reframing failures as necessary steps toward mastery fuels momentum, helping you stand back up each time you stumble. With consistent effort, you will find that small steps lead to confident leaps. The act of pausing, questioning, and considering alternative perspectives is simple but incredibly impactful. Each time you reflect and choose growth over defeat, you build strength and resilience that will serve you in all areas of life. Progress may be gradual, but every attempt adds an essential layer to your personal foundation. Through this ongoing practice, life's disappointments diminish their power. Victories, no matter how small, become fuel for more courageous efforts ahead. By actively seeking new ways to interpret your story, you become both a wiser storyteller and a stronger participant in your own life journey. Looking ahead, the journey of mastering perspective is further elevated by learning how to manage and shift your emotional energy, particularly when challenges threaten to cloud your vision. The next chapter will guide you in understanding emotional energy and teach you strategies to master those inevitable shifts so you can stay centered even in turbulent times. If this chapter has sparked reflection or new intention for you, consider subscribing to Awaken Vision, liking this video, or sharing your perspective below. Your thoughts inspire this growing community, and your voice makes the vision brighter for everyone walking this path alongside you. Chapter 5. Have you ever noticed how your mood can change the entire direction of your day? One unexpected moment, a sharp comment from a colleague, an overwhelming wave of worry, or perhaps excitement about something new, can dramatically shift your energy in seconds. These emotional fluctuations might seem subtle, but their effect on your focus and productivity can be enormous. When your emotions run high or swing low, your ability to concentrate, relate to others, and move forward is often at their mercy. Many people find their intentions derailed, not by lack of ability or effort, but by the unpredictable current of feelings that rise and fall without warning. If you've ever asked yourself, why can't I just stay in control of my emotions? Or blamed yourself for feeling stuck in a cycle of tension or fatigue, you are far from alone. Emotional energy is a real and powerful driver behind every choice we make. It determines whether a challenge feels conquerable or crushing, and whether each setback sends you into discouragement or sparks resilience. Learning to understand and manage these natural shifts is essential for anyone seeking mastery over their attention, performance, and well-being. Imagine a time when you woke up feeling energized, only to find that a single inconvenience stole your enthusiasm and soured the whole morning. Or think back to moments when inspiration lit you up, and suddenly your afternoon was filled with focus and joy. So often we are told just to be positive or control our feelings, as if emotional energy were a mere switch to be flipped on demand. In reality, emotions are responses anchored in our biology, shaped by our stories, and highly reactive to even small events in our day. Perhaps you can relate to Sam, who arrives at work after a rough morning commute. Someone's rude behavior on the road follows him through the office doors, coloring his mood as he tries to settle into a big project. His thoughts become scattered, his patience thin, and soon every small challenge feels blown out of proportion. Or imagine Mia, a student waiting for news about a scholarship. Her nerves spike whenever her phone pings, and as excitement alternates with dread, her mind struggles to scan her notes or stay present in class. These everyday scenarios reveal an important truth. Unchecked emotional energy can pull your focus off track and shape how you see, think, and respond in every area of life. Recognizing the power of emotions and the ways they ebb and flow is the first step toward reclaiming your sense of direction and purpose. When you clearly see how emotional energy shapes your focus, you gain the space to observe, respond, and even influence your inner world. Understanding this is not a sign of weakness or oversensitivity. It's a mark of maturity and self-respect. As you move through this chapter, you'll unlock strategies for navigating emotional highs and lows, so that every feeling becomes an ally rather than an obstacle on your path to focus mastery. Learning to master your emotional energy begins with awareness and acceptance. The solution is not to eliminate emotions or control them with force, but rather to slow down and observe them as they arise. By labeling your emotional state, whether it's tension, excitement, irritation, sadness, or happiness, you create mental distance, instantly softening the influence your feelings have over your actions. This approach is rooted in mindfulness, a well-supported psychological method that helps people step out of automatic reaction patterns. Research has shown that people who regularly practice mindfulness are better able to regulate emotional energy, enjoy increased focus, and respond calmly even in unpredictable situations. The core reason this approach works is that acknowledging emotions weakens their grip. If you find yourself anxious before a meeting, for example, naming it by saying, "I am feeling anxious right now," provides clarity rather than adding internal conflict. Instead of resisting the emotional wave, you're allowing it to move through you without letting it dictate the direction you take. This practice activates the more reflective parts of your brain rather than the reactive ones, promoting wiser decision-making and focus. Paying attention to your breathing, taking a few conscious, slow breaths, and gently scanning where you feel the emotion in your body can help anchor this process. Simple physical acts like standing up and stretching or briefly stepping outside signal to your body that it is safe to reset and refocus. Alongside mindfulness, another powerful approach is to create an emotional toolkit, a small set of personalized practical strategies that help redirect or transform difficult emotional energy. This might include things like writing a few quick lines in a journal about what you're experiencing, listening to music that helps shift your mood, going for a brisk 5-minute walk, or tapping into creative outlets such as drawing or singing. These strategies allow you to move, express, and recenter, making it easier to return to focused, purposeful action. Psychological studies highlight that finding active ways to release or redirect emotional energy not only improves general well-being, but also increases your stamina for concentration tasks and creative problem-solving. Emotional mastery doesn't mean keeping every part of your day perfectly calm or positive. Rather, it develops your ability to sense when energy is shifting, to welcome it without judgment, and to choose the most helpful response. With practice, you can notice the buildup of agitation or the weight of low energy and intervene early before these feelings hijack your focus and productivity. Over time, this builds immense self-trust, confidence that emotions won't sweep you away, but can signal the need for rest, inspiration, or a brief pause. Approaching emotional energy as a natural, navigable part of life strips it of shame and struggle and turns every mood into an opportunity to learn more about yourself. By consistently practicing mindful acknowledgement and activating your emotional toolkit, not only do you become less reactive, but you unlock reserves of steadiness and creativity you might never have realized were there. This balanced partnership with your feelings lays the groundwork for sustained performance and richer, more meaningful experiences in every area of life. Emotional mastery, then, is a daily choice, both to honor your feelings and to gently guide them, ensuring they serve your growth, clarity, and direction, rather than standing in your way. The positive outcomes of mastering your emotional energy extend far beyond the immediate moment of a calmed mind or reclaimed focus. Over time, these habits become powerful tools for self-leadership, helping you weather life's storms with patience and wisdom rather than frantic reaction. As you learn to notice, name, and skillfully redirect your emotions, everyday stressors lose their ability to hijack your attention or dictate the quality of your work, relationships, and personal progress. What once felt like overwhelming waves of tension or distraction becomes manageable feedback, giving you choices and even turning emotional fluctuations into new sources of insight. This transformation builds emotional resilience and deeply enhances your confidence. No longer are you at the mercy of unpredictable moods, but instead you carry a sense of steady capability into all that you do. With this practice, self-judgment softens, clarity deepens, and even the more challenging parts of your day become stepping stones toward genuine growth. To implement these habits into daily life, start by scheduling short, mindful check-ins throughout your day, a few minutes in the morning, one at midday, and one before bed, to pause and honestly ask, what am I feeling right now? Use simple words, calm, tense, hopeful, disappointed. Follow this label with a few full breaths, giving yourself space to observe sensations in your body and accept them as they are. If a feeling becomes intense, activate your emotional toolkit by stepping outside for fresh air, stretching, or jotting a quick note in a journal. Practice letting go of the expectation to fix your mood immediately. Instead, strive for understanding and gentle redirection. With time, this simple pause, label, breathe action method becomes innate, seamlessly weaving emotional awareness into your daily routine. Let's see these strategies in real life. In personal growth, consider someone working towards a demanding fitness or skill goal who hits a plateau. Rather than quitting out of frustration, they pause, evaluate the feelings of discouragement, and use a walk or call with a friend to reset. A small act that makes perseverance possible. In relationships, when an argument threatens to escalate, a partner who can recognize rising anger or sadness can excuse themselves momentarily to regain composure, returning to conversation with clarity and care rather than regretful words. At work, If midday fatigue drags you down, using 5 minutes for mindful breathing or uplifting music can shift your whole afternoon's trajectory, restoring focus and good humor. Even for students facing mounting pressure, stopping to notice anxious energy and grounding the body with deep breaths before an exam can make attentive, calm learning attainable. The path to emotional mastery isn't achieved overnight. Every effort, no matter how small, moves you forward and shapes your resilience. Count each check-in, every breath, and each kind response to yourself as meaningful progress. Setbacks are not setbacks at all, but invitations to practice the skill again. Over weeks and months of gentle, consistent practice, you will find that you trust yourself under pressure, navigate changes calmly, and feel better equipped to keep your attention on what counts most. As you prepare to close this chapter, know that the next essential skill on your journey is learning how to sustain the light of your focus and growth, even as life's seasons change and new challenges arise. Consistency and routine will prove to be your best allies for long-term transformation. If you found these insights helpful, remember to subscribe to Awaken Vision, give this video a like, and share your own experience or wisdom in the comments below. Your voice inspires and strengthens everyone who walks this path of self-mastery right alongside you. Chapter 6. Why is it so difficult to maintain positive change over time, especially when life gets busy or uncertain? Many of us set out on a new journey with enthusiasm and energy, whether it's to build deeper focus, improve self-discipline, or cultivate a healthier mindset. In the first weeks, everything feels possible. But as routines settle, challenges reappear, and old habits tug us back to where we started. Sustaining that light becomes a daily test. Far too often, transformation slips quietly away, not because of failure or lack of desire, but simply because we lack the tools and strategies to weather the demands of everyday life. Moments of fatigue, a busy season at work, or emotional setbacks can easily overshadow everything we've built, leaving us with a fading sense of progress and self-belief. Understanding the importance of sustaining growth is the key to experiencing lasting change. Imagine a plant that, after being carefully nurtured from a tiny seed, is left without sunlight or water. No matter how healthy or vibrant it once looked, it won't thrive unless its needs are met consistently. Personal growth works in much the same way. It requires just as much care during ordinary days as it does during periods of change or excitement. When you first learn to focus or develop self-awareness, those initial breakthroughs feel exhilarating. But without steady encouragement and routines, the spark can dwindle. It's this ongoing maintenance, the daily actions, reminders, and rituals that carry you through fluctuations in motivation and ensure your progress becomes part of who you are, rather than something you simply attempted for a season. Consider Martin, who started meditating every morning, feeling calm and centered as a result. It became easier for him to manage stress at work and handle disagreement at home. Yet 2 weeks of travel and a packed schedule interrupted his new routine. When he tried to start again, he felt guilty for letting it slip, and soon began questioning whether he could ever be consistent. Or reflect on Sarah, who built a habit of gratitude journaling in the evenings, only to lose track when a sudden project required late nights at the office. Her handwritten moments of appreciation quickly gave way to worry and tiredness, leaving her wondering if her progress was real or just a temporary phase. These stories are painfully common and deeply human. Life inevitably disrupts even our best intentions, and unless we know how to restart and reinforce them, we can become discouraged and convince ourselves that making changes stick is beyond our reach. This is why learning to sustain the light, your newfound focus, positivity, and growth, is not just one more step in self-development, but the most critical skill of all. It isn't about being perfect or never falling behind. It's about how quickly and kindly you can return to your path after drifting off course. Lasting growth is built step by step with patience, self-compassion, and adaptive routines that see you through every season. If you've ever lost ground and felt tempted to give up, know that the power to continue, reignite, and sustain your progress lies just ahead. That light you worked so hard to kindle can and will go on shining. The solution to sustaining growth in your personal and emotional development is to create a foundation of routines, systems, and self-support that are adaptable rather than rigid. Growth is not about always sticking perfectly to one plan or never missing a day of practice. It is about building habits that flex with the realities of your changing life. This means setting up daily cues, rituals, or reminders that gently pull you back into your chosen habits and mindset, regardless of how chaotic things become. Doing something small but consistent is far more powerful in the long run than bursts of intense effort followed by long lapses. Science backs this up. Research on habit formation shows that people who design environments that support their intentions, such as keeping a gratitude journal visible on the nightstand or presetting cups and tea bags for morning meditation, are much more likely to return to their habits after disruptions. A sustainable routine also respects the ebb and flow of your energy and motivation. There will be days when your focus is sharp and your spirits are high, when completing your chosen habits feels easy. On slower days or during periods of stress, the goal is not to perform perfectly, but to simply maintain a gentle return to your path. This could mean scaling back, writing one sentence instead of a page, meditating for a minute instead of 10, or gratefully noting just a single thing before bed. These small efforts act as signals to your mind that your progress still matters, helping protect your routines from being abandoned altogether during busier or difficult times. By celebrating consistency, even in reduced form, you make resilience and adaptation the backbone of your growth. An important element of keeping the light of growth alive is forgiveness and restart. Instead of seeing a missed day or week as failure, treat these setbacks as natural pauses in a much greater journey. Research on habit change stresses the importance of self-compassion. People who forgive themselves for slipping and begin again gently are exponentially more likely to rebuild their routines than those who dwell on guilt or self-criticism. You can plan for setbacks by having a simple restart ritual, a favorite quote, a short reflection, or a motivational playlist that helps reignite your enthusiasm. Each return to your practice is not a step back, but a sign of deepening commitment and flexibility, showing your mind and body that growth is not an all-or-nothing pursuit. Why is this solution so effective? Sustainable growth works because it aligns with how people thrive in the real world, with its interruptions, periods of low energy, and changing demands. Flexible, simple routines become anchors in your day, guiding you back to focus, gratitude, and resilience whenever you drift. The more you honor your own humanity, the kinder and more motivated you remain. This makes failing to do a habit a brief pause rather than an ending. Over time, the cycle of showing up for yourself, even imperfectly, builds a powerful momentum, weaving your practices so thoroughly into daily life that they become almost second nature. The light you sustain is not the result of never faltering, but of always returning and tending gently to what matters most. This creates the foundation for self-mastery that keeps shining through every stage and season of your journey. When you commit to building routines that adapt with your life and practice gentle self-compassion on the days when you stray, you lay the groundwork for enduring transformation. The positive effects gradually seep into every area, large and small. Suddenly, growth feels less like a sprint to a finish line and more like an unfolding journey that brings out your best self with steadiness and grace. The daily return to your habits, even when imperfect, creates resilience. You become someone who welcomes fresh beginnings, learns quickly from setbacks, and trusts the process even when results are slow to show. Over time, you find it easier to restart, rekindle motivation after a break, and maintain focus on what truly matters. This approach doesn't just deliver skills or productivity, it nurtures inner peace, because you no longer define your progress by fleeting bursts, but by lasting presence and self-acceptance. To let this sustainable growth take root, begin by anchoring new habits to simple triggers in your day, a cup of coffee, ending a shower, or turning off your alarm. Set your materials or reminders out the night before, making it nearly effortless to take action. If you miss a day, use a brief written reflection or an encouraging phrase to welcome yourself back to the journey without blame. Track your successes visually, drawing a star or a check mark for every completed habit. Let yourself witness consistency building in small increments. When times get unusually challenging, scale down the practice. Instead of stopping altogether, tell yourself that doing just a minute or even a single step counts. The intention, rather than the performance, is what keeps your light burning. Prevention also fuels consistency. Plan for busy or low-energy spells by identifying what the absolute minimum version of your habit looks like and committing to that during crunch times. This strategy brings benefits far beyond habit formation. Families build stronger bonds by sharing gratitude around the dinner table each day, even if briefly. Friends encourage each other to keep commitments by sending a morning reminder or check-in message. In times of work stress, pausing for a minute of mindful breathing before team meetings can set a calm foundation for productive collaboration. Students who reflect for 1 minute after studying are more likely to retain information and rekindle focus after a break. These incremental adjustments allow everyone, regardless of circumstances, to hold on to the progress they have made and build forward, without pressure to be perfect and without fear of losing ground when life shifts. In embracing this ongoing cycle, reflect often on your progress and affirm your persistence. Each gentle return is evidence that you value your goals, care for your inner well-being, and are willing to adapt in service of your deepest aspirations. Celebrate even the smallest milestones, marking a week of practice, renewing a mindset after a setback, or giving yourself grace instead of criticism. These small victories, strung together, weave a supportive path that will carry you through new challenges, expanding your capacity to thrive amid change. Viewing setbacks as natural rest stops empowers you to rise with more wisdom, courage, and self-trust than before. Your journey to sustained growth isn't measured by how few times you fall or how flawlessly you follow your plan, but by how reliably and kindly you encourage yourself to rise and return again and again. As you carry this mindset into future pursuits, remember that true focus mastery is a living, breathing practice. Take courage in your daily acts, knowing you are designing a life where transformation is not only possible, but lasting. As we reach the conclusion of Focus Mastery, Strengthening the Art of Attention, reflect on the journey you've traveled. From igniting your inner spark and rewiring your thinking for positivity to cultivating resilience, gratitude, and the power of perspective. You've learned to navigate emotional energy, maintain new growth through adaptable routines, and honor progress, no matter how small. These practices are not just techniques, they are cornerstones for a focused, purposeful, and fulfilling life. Remember, true mastery takes consistency, self-kindness, and courage to begin again each day. Thank you for investing your time and energy in this journey towards self-development. If you found value in this content, please like, comment with your insights or experiences, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can continue growing with the Awaken Vision community. Your presence truly makes a difference.